Hey, what's up, Karate Kid fans? As you've probably seen, last Thursday we got another sneak peek at Cobra Kai Season 2, this time in the form of a short clip from what looks to be the first episode. So let's break it down and get the conversation started. If you haven't seen the clip yet, I put a link in the description, so be sure to check it out. The clip begins with Miguel and Hawk entering a somewhat trashed Cobra Kai dojo. You can see one of the mirror panels is broken and some large burn marks on the wall. On a quick side note, you'll recall in the teaser, we have that shot of Johnny looking into the mirror after he had made repairs and replaced it. So Miguel asks Aisha what happened, and she responds that it looks like Sensei threw a party. You get a better shot of the burn marks, and Hawk makes the comment that it must have been a sick party if fire was involved. Although it's tough to tell for sure, it does appear that this is the only real area of the dojo that was damaged, so if I were to guess, I'd say that this has something to do with the interaction Johnny and Kreese had following the scene at the end of Season 1, whether that was a fight, argument, or something else. Because if you recall, this isn't very far from where Kreese had been standing when he entered the dojo. He also had a cigar, which may or may not explain the burnt wall. Johnny had also been drinking and clearly upset already with how the tournament went, so it's entirely possible that this was all his doing out of frustration. Something else I'm curious about is why Miguel and Hawk arrive later than everyone else. They have their backpacks on, implying that they just came from school, but everyone else is already there in their gis, so what delayed them? Why did they show up so much later? Anyhow, moving on, Johnny comes out and in typical Johnny fashion, kicks out a group of interested new students and then promptly has everyone fall in. Hawk makes the comment, must have been a rager sensei, and Miguel asks, were you celebrating all weekend? So we now know that timeline-wise, a weekend has passed, so at least a couple of days between the end of Season 1 and now have passed. I think it's safe to say that this clip is from the first episode of Season 2, probably even one of the earlier scenes. If they pick up where they left off from Season 1 with Johnny and Kreese interacting in the dojo, I would guess this to be probably the second or third scene. So Johnny responds, celebrating what? That my students are a bunch of pussies? And proceeds to scold both Hawk and Miguel for fighting dirty in the tournament. He then uses the analogy of two cobras in the jungle. One cobra kills the strongest lion, the other kills a crippled monkey. Which cobra do you want to be? The one that kills the lion because it killed a stronger animal. Cobra Kai is about being badass, and the baddest badass is the one that beats his opponent when he is at his strongest, not when his back is turned, not when he's injured. He then explains that they're all starting over and this is why they're wearing white belts. No more cheating, no more fighting dirty. So now it looks like Johnny is aiming for a new Cobra Kai that will be a cleaner, honorable, and more dignified style of karate. As a clear nod to the first Karate Kid, Johnny, like Kreese, orders Miguel and Hawk to give him 50 push-ups on their knuckles. Miss Robinson, warm them up. Fighting positions, jab punch, ready. This is all pretty much verbatim to Kreese having Johnny warm up his students in the original film. And that's the end of the clip. This clip answers a few questions, but as expected, it raises a bunch more. With Johnny scolding Miguel and Hawk, I'll be curious to see how they react. They look pretty upset here, and I wonder if they'll be more tempted towards Kreese's methods, and if Kreese will lure them in, since historically, he's willing to do whatever it takes to win, and is a bit more brutal. That leads me to my next possible theory. Did Johnny and Kreese get into a heated argument about teaching? Is it possible Johnny's new cleaner approach to Cobra Kai didn't sit well with Kreese? If that's the case, does this mean Kreese is going to go about teaching and recruiting his own students? Or will he play nice to Johnny but be more brutal to his students behind his back? I don't know. But both of those theories could explain why we don't see Johnny with Kreese and the students in the woods during the teaser. On the other hand, it's hard to say if Kreese is going to straight up be a villain. One thing great about the series so far is that it's done a great job of making the characters very three-dimensional, and there have been several interviews with Martin Kove where he has talked about Kreese and how the character has evolved into a much different person, different than the person we saw 30 years ago. I would venture to guess that we'll get someone very gray. One minute you may like him and the next hate him. At least that's what I'm hoping for. If you haven't seen any of those interviews, I've put some links in the description. I'm still hopeful for some form of team up, so I guess it's entirely possible that Johnny and Daniel could potentially team up to defeat Kreese, even if that meant defeating him, i.e., his students, in the All Valley tournament. Of course, I'm getting way ahead of myself, and this is all theories and speculation. But still, it's fun to guess and make predictions. So, that begs the question, what are your thoughts and predictions? What do you want to happen and see in the next season? Be sure to post a comment below, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.